In the studio, it is Chief Justice Mike Randolph of the Mississippi Supreme Court and Greg Snowden, Director of Administrative Office of Courts. Greg, what do you do? Is that just a title, or what do you do?
No, it's not just a title.
But do you earn your money?
Well, you'd have to ask the man sitting to my left on that.
I'm afraid to do that.
I'm kind of afraid for you to ask as well. But no, it's a myriad of things. Yeah. We support all the courts in the state.
Were you familiar with this office before, with this job before?
I was familiar with it, certainly. It was created in 1993. I remember when Martin Smith, who had served in the legislature for years, was the first director. But I was not intimately involved, of course, with it. But it's exciting work. I'm enjoying the work. I just hope I do a good job. I'm looking forward to it.
But he can outwork you. I know that.
Look, it is a hard-working court, period. And I say court, I mean Court of Appeals,
right?
Supreme Court, and from my experience, the trial judges. They work hard for their money.
I got to go back and ask the Chief Justice, can we backtrack on this one? What was the cause to activate this as far as, I understand the Delta variant, but some of the numbers came in that caused this to reach a level that the prior orders came in matching that or worse? Or explain that a little bit.
Well, the Delta variant has created a surge and has spiked the numbers on equal to what they were in the worst part of the epidemic. It's outrageously bad. But I also recognize that we had to get out of this political debate and get the politicization of this epidemic out of the way. And let's just look at hard numbers and let people make honest decisions. And not be Republicans, Democrats, anything like that.
No.
So that's when I went back and started the number. And so these are facts I speak of. They're in the order. Unvaccinated individuals in this state account for 97% of all COVID cases. We also pointed out that 89% of all hospitalizations were non-vaccinated people. This morning on the way up here, y'all ran a sort of a PSA by, I think, from the Delta Health Alliance from Arctic. And the numbers they're saying now is 97% of all hospitalizations are unvaccinated people. I mean, these are real numbers. 82% of the deaths are non-vaccinated. So I'm not here to get into a vaccination or not. People just need to know the facts, and then knowing the facts, they can talk to their own local doctor. I'll give you an example about talking to a doctor, though. Today on your show is reported that Lamar Jackson, you talked about Lamar Jackson, quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. He's had COVID twice in the last 18 months. And then, so he was interviewed and said, what are you going to do about vaccination? He said, well, I'm going to talk to my doctor, I guess. And you all sort of made light of it, like you ought to have it figured out, but now you might want to get vaccinated. So this is what, see, he's 20.
So you never know when you have a Chief Justice listening to you.
Yeah, that's true.
So you got to be careful what you say.
Well, I've been really paying attention to what Perez says. And,
oh, well, absolutely.
And I've been paying a lot of attention to that. But the point of it is that what I recognized also in our family, my family, I got 3 children in their 40s. I was having debates. Some of them are vaccinated, some are not. And I was debating one of them, and I said, you may win the debate, but you may be dead wrong in the end.
Yep.
So I realized that people in their 40s is where the danger zone lies in this variance. That's where people are dying. And so we have to get that message out and let people know that it is really risky out there not to be vaccinated, but that's still a personal choice. But many people will make the choice. And one thing, if you would, during your future shows, that my 48-year-old son told me the other day, Dad, I didn't know how quick it could be. He signed up, went to CVS. He was in and out of there 10 minutes, and 9 minutes of it was sitting around waiting to check the after effects. My wife and I were vaccinated a long time ago. Neither one of us had the least side effect. And I'm not aware of a single death in this state caused by the vaccination. Otherwise, adverse reaction.
I don't know how we got here. And again, I don't think it's happenstance. I think there's a reason behind the confuse and conquer. And I think it's all political, to be honest with you. But when we start winding that down to think and scrape off all the veneer, it's a shot. Listen, I remember the first time I heard about shingles. And we were talking about shingles, and I had no idea what shingles are. But once you start investigating what happens when you have shingles, and when I heard there is a shot for shingles, I mean, I made a beeline to the drugstore to get a shot. And the shot was fine, no big deal. But just to know that you're protected in some way, nobody got a guarantee on this thing, but you're protected from shingles. Well, this is as bad or worse than shingles if you have some underlying conditions. And we've blown this out of proportion that I'm firmly convinced that if we had social media back in the prior pandemics or yellow fever or whatever it happened to be, we would be extinct.
No question. No question. My parents did not ask any questions.
Right.
I would be in an iron lung right now if I hadn't got the polio.
That is exactly right. I went to school with a couple of people who had polio, and it was not pretty. Their whole lives was devastated because of that.
But two things, and one thing about this order, and the reason we got to pay attention to courts and how they operate. Mm-hmm. People that want to get out and get out. They go to Walmart, they go to the casinos, they do what they want to do. In court, you are compelled to be there. And that's the reason these orders are so important, how we do it, because we make people come to court with a subpoena or a summons. And so we have to do things a little differently than these independent things. And the other thing I'll mention to you, just as a side thing, since you all were talking about African lions today, I took my whole family to Africa, and Perez is absolutely right. Those male lions, they sit around and procreate and they eat, because I watched them for 3 weeks. But the point I was making to my daughter the other day when I was talking to her about getting vaccinated, when I decided the family was going to Africa years ago, when I was still in private practice and could afford to go, that we all had to take shots.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we took a massive amount of shots. She didn't ask no questions then. What shots do I have to take? I want to go to Africa. So things you want to do, you take care of. And that's all I'm trying to do is say, look at the facts, and then you make your own decisions. Yep. And hopefully we can turn the tide on this epidemic.
There are so many hots and colds, black and whites on this one, because we go from a virus that people may not even know they have. But that's the good part about it. The bad part is that you don't know you have it. You may kill somebody who has underlying conditions and not even know you have it. So, I mean, it's such a wide variance. It's not like the Ebola. The Ebola was a 99.9% chance. If you had Ebola, your chance of dying was 99.9%. Your innards turned to liquid, and you started spewing blood out of all of your orifices. That's how bad it was. This one, you got almost a 99% chance of surviving, but that doesn't mean you're not going to kill somebody. So I do want to ask you this: as far as the first time we did this, was the backlog taken care of?
We're still working on the backlog.
So is this going to exacerbate that?
Well, it'll start creating a new one, and then Greg will work with the legislature when the federal money starts coming in here that we'll get it. Something to deal with that. But I can't remember that closing pitcher that for Mississippi State, Landon, what's his?
Sims.
Landon Sims.
Isn't it Sims?
Most people think that from Mississippi State he's the greatest closer ever, but it's not. It's Jess Dickinson, former justice on the court, because Jess Dickinson in Hinds County alone, under working with the legislative money that we received, has closed over 1,500 cases in Hinds County.
So he threw fastballs or curveballs? He
was doing both, evidently. I don't know what else he has, but he's the closer. Now, other judges have helped tremendously, but I've worked with courts. We were